husband and I were living in Naples, and we were very involved in another church, but a friend gave me a copy of the Daily Word, and she said, there's a Unity minister coming. And I was very fascinated with the Daily Word because I was starting on my spiritual path, and I wanted to have more faith. Jack and Joan Kern opened the bookstore on Fifth Avenue near 3rd Street, and it was an ideal location because it opened to a courtyard, which was great. Sometimes they could have the meditation Bible study classes even there, but most of the time they would have it within the bookstore. So I would slip into the Wednesday evening, and then sometimes I would even sneak into the services, which was held at the Naples Federal Community Center, which was at the four corners of Fifth Avenue and 41 at that time.
There was something about Jack that was so natural, and I know for myself how I receive totally through the heart or through the gut. I don't receive through the head at all. So Jack had this natural ability to speak to people. It was almost like channeling. But when he did a meditation, his voice he had a radio voice for sure. So it was so special. And I don't know if I ever got through meditation of Jack's without crying.
Well, Jack Kern was the reverend here, and he was a very, very emotional. I was moved by his emotion, and I used to cry because of him.
This tall gentleman, I'm a short guy, so tall doesn't mean a whole lot. So he's probably, 6'2", what have you, but he would, I don't know if he was from the South, but he kind of talked a little like this. And the pace of how he would talk would kind of have some pauses like that. And as he would be telling his stories, you were on the edge of your seat, and then he would get to the poignant line, and it would just resonate.
Father, we come to you this morning to relax and to let loose, to let go of any pressure or tension or burden or anything that would interfere with our knowing of your presence in us, of our knowing your sure guidance and direction within us.
And it wasn't until those years that I was head back usher and I was here for both services that I realized that Jack was not scripted, that he just spoke from his heart. And Jack a lot of times, cried during service. And it was, for me, to see a man be vulnerable enough and full of enough, he felt safe in here enough with us just to let his heart totally. That touched me.
The fellowship hall used to be the main church, and at the very end of the building was a curtain, and there was a tapestry at the end of the little hallway, and that was the Peace Chapel. And on Wednesday nights, anybody who wanted to come would come, and we would have a guided meditation with Jack, and then we would just kind of have question and answers. And there'd sometimes be 7, 8, 10, 12, 15. You never knew who was going to be there. But we never started before there was a woman who I believe has passed. Her name is Risha Simpson. And when Risha walked in, we could start. She was always right on the dot, on time.
It was in the fellowship hall, and we had a full fellowship hall. And then I didn't know that we were going to build a sanctuary here, but then I started seeing this thing go up, and I was amazed. And it was a beautiful structure.
When we moved from the fellowship hall to the sanctuary, it's like you feel like your body and soul is being expanded, and sometimes you can feel that it's maybe more than you're ready for. It took a skilled builder to do a roof line like this, to be able to support those beams, and I believe there are 12 of them, that would probably intentional to represent the 12 powers. And I can visualize Jack and 2 or 3 of the board members with a shovel, and that's very significant time that you dig into the earth and you really ask a blessing that what comes forth will serve others.
The whole thing is made of glass, and Jack did that on purpose because he wanted people to come in. He said, I don't care if you don't listen to me. I have a message here, but if it's not for you, it's okay. And he said, but this way you get 1 hour of peace a week, and you can look out. That's why the grounds were so beautiful, and the lake, just peace. So that people, he said, if you sit here with your eyes closed for the hour, it's okay, because I know you're communing with your inner Lord, and that's what it's all about.
You know, when you sit here and you look out at the lake and you look at it's like you're set in nature. And then when you know the history that Jack used to tell of this place, that there's energy fault lines and, you know, energy from old Indian grounds. This is a special place, and you feel it, and you hear that from, gosh, you meet people and they say, I just walked on here and it felt right and it felt good. And I don't think that feeling will ever go away for this place.
What brought me here was the peace and the tranquility, and in walking around this lake and in feeling the calmness, it just draws people here. There's a natural beauty that you don't find in many other places.
The first time I walked on this campus and saw all the beautiful greenery, it really was gorgeous. It was peaceful. And the windows, when you're inside, you can look outside and you can be outside. That was the first memory. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, is how beautiful the place was, how peaceful, and how somewhere in my heart, I just knew I belonged here.
I come from a Jewish background, and I was really looking for something. There was a synagogue in town when I came in, but it wasn't quite what I was really looking for. I did go, and it didn't give me, I think, the closeness that I was looking for, the community. You were talking about community, and I love the community here. That probably for me is one of the biggest things that there is.
And we came in and we sat in the back, you know, because we were like, we don't want to go any further up front. We go, and actually we walked in, and the first person that greeted us was David Karg, and he came up and he gave us a hug, which we were never used to, and I was kind of like, hug? Oh, hold on there. And he goes, oh, that'll change. And he was just the first vision that we saw here of love and acceptance, and you know, and that's just what this whole place means to us right now. And when we sat in there through Richard's first sermon that we heard, we felt that he was talking directly to us. Mm-hmm. And yeah. I turned to her and she was crying, and like she felt moved by it, and we were hooked right from that moment.
Unity to me is so significant because we know that the energy of one person focusing unconditional love to someone else, to others, even if it's one person, makes a huge difference. It makes an energetic difference. I mean, this is not like a situation where you go to some religions will say, okay, you have to do this to do this. No. This is about understanding the truth of who we are and expressing that truth with an open heart to others, raising the energetic level of all.
The initial vibration, it was really the grounds. I kind of knew a few people from up north, from my, let's call it the former Unity Church. And it became like, well, this is my second home here.
Get on my bike and I ride over here. And as I ride past the school, and then through the umbrella of trees, and come upon this oasis sitting here, I think to myself, whoa, and I see Unity. I said, is this my Unity? And I read the boards here. I said, this is my Unity. Oh my God. And this bench, this is not the bench, but this is a bench, was sitting here, it was an older one. And I sat down. And as I sat down, I looked around and I thought to myself, this is my Unity. I'm a big boy. I'm 6'3", and I'm not, a spring chicken. But tears began to fill my eyes. And I sat here and I cried.
The feeling of home about the place. There was an embrace. I remember sitting on the last row. And I think every newcomer sort of like tries to stay on the back and not surrounded by people. Like, let me sit on my little island in the middle here. And that day they were singing as a hymn, "You Are the Face of God." And one member of the church came to me and started singing to my face, "You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God." And imagine happening on the very first day you're here, somebody that's been here for years acknowledging you, greeting you that way. My feeling of home came within the energy of the place, but that solidified it.
And then just walking into the sanctuary, there were people that said hello, and I kind of sat in the back when I first came, and then I got further and further up front, where I enjoyed sitting up front, sometimes even in the front row. And just the message, particularly in 2009, with Reverend Richard Rogers, like I was inspired every Sunday.
Well, I grew up in a traditional church, and so when I walked into Unity, and what I found, which I didn't really expect to find, was this loving community of non-judgment. And I think so many of us, when we come in the door, we're recovering from something. Either it's another church, or it could be an addiction, could just be life, life itself. But a lot of people that I've talked to have experienced the same feelings when they come in here.
It's very foreign when you're talking to someone who is Catholic or Methodist or Presbyterian, and then you welcome them into when they're on vacation here, you come in and it's just like a breath of fresh air, and they felt welcomed. Everyone always feels welcome here, and I think that that's so significant. You can feel the heartbeat of this place.
Pretty extraordinary community. I mean, the whole thing, this has been around for a while. And in the face of most people's perception of Christianity, Unity carves a different path, is more inclusive. What still speaks to me, and I can get moved by that, is whoever you are, wherever you're from, you are welcome here.
For me personally, if I were to go, my oldest son is gay and married to his partner. When I was able to share that story here and see it up on the screen, their wedding picture, that was such a beautiful moment for me. That my family and that acceptance was going out to those people who are gay or who are different in any way, that they are loving and accepted. It's like, thank you, God. Thank you, God, that no one's set apart from the love of God, that we are all embraced by love, and we are all expressions of love. And that came across to me, especially at that moment.
I remember Dina Ham welcomed me with open arms, and I always see her and think of that first day, even now sometimes. We formed a bond and became close over the years. I remember this property, which I still love, and it's very soothing and comforting.
My mom didn't realize it, but she really raised me with the Unity philosophy. And so when I got here, I just felt like I was home, because she taught me my whole life of the power of prayer and mind over matter and to have a positive outlook. So when I came here, it just resonated with me. And so then I started bringing my children here.
I wanted God to be loving. And I wasn't getting that in my own place of worship for the years. It was from you know, a little bit angry, an angry God that was going to punish us if we didn't act the way we were supposed to. And I still hear that from people.
I worked with a guy for years, and 7 years on Monday mornings, we always had the same conversation, and he attended a church right down the road here on Davis. And on Monday mornings, we'd always say, well, I'd say, Schmitty, what was your lesson on yesterday? And he would say, sin. And I said, sin again? And then he would ask me what my lesson was on at Unity. And I would say, love. And he said, love again? And that's been my experience here, is that, you know, everybody is welcome, just like in our introduction, that it doesn't matter where you are on your spiritual path, who you are, what you believed, you know, it's all welcome, bring it on in.
I think coming for the first time when I walked up, you know, through the central area coming in, the first thing that struck me that I didn't have an experience with was a blessing basket. And I just thought, that is wonderful. And there was a time that I used to keep the little blessings, and I would put them in my journal, and then I would keep the blessings and put them in like a pretty jar or something. And then whenever I needed something, I would just, during my day, during the week, I'd pull out one of those blessings, so I'd keep the blessings.
And what brings me to Unity is the positive message, the affirmative message. Unity of Naples has this big quality of making people feel at home.
That's the number one thing here is connectivity. Just a peaceful, like-minded connectivity. Everybody's welcome. Nobody's interested necessarily in what you drove here, what you're wearing. They're just interested in you and see the Christ light directly in you. There's no judgments here, which is really great.
It's open-minded. People are open-minded. People aren't judgmental. And I love that. And for me, the older I get and the more that I'm here, that's one thing that I love, is that judgment-free zone for everybody. Right. And so you just feel compelled to continue that when you leave the church with those same people, because they love you. They love you for all of you, for who you are, and they're not walking around judging you and labeling you and putting, putting labels on you. So
our lives have exponentially changed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just not only in the realm of this community here, but outside. Mm-hmm. We find it amazing how much we implement unity principles in our daily lives and with other people, and they don't even know it. And they're like, wow, that's really moving. Really? You know, and they don't even understand that what they just received, you know, and they run with it and then go back to their regular lives. And then when they meet us again, they're like, tell us something else, you know. And it's funny how we're able to, you know, engage and enroll people in on all these different possibilities in their lives, and that they're not even aware of, you know.
I come to Unity because Unity fills me up. I get so much love here.
Well, as we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, I reflect on why I'm still here. Of course, I have shared so much of what I love about the Unity of Naples, but I will admit that I had to make some intentional shifts myself, because Jack's style of ministry was a very quiet, meditative style, and allowing each person to grow at their own speed. And you can't all be Jack Kearns.
I came to see Mark. First thing that went through my mind is Jack would love him. Jack would love hearing him. And I said to him, I feel like I have a new little brother. And I said, you know, the same thing, that I love what he has to say. And it doesn't have to be the same as Jack. And I'm not asking it for it to be the same as Jack.
I was back in church, and excited to have Mark here. And I was sitting down, and it was the first time in a long time that I had been moved to tears again. And it's like, for me, that's an indication that I am receiving.
It's really cool now. It's cool to see the church filling up and just the messages and the process of Jack always made you think, Richard made you think, and Mark makes you think, and that's a great feeling.
Everybody that's come in has had another message, and they've given it in a certain way. Some people have really gotten more into biblical sort of thing, and other people have been had more of a daily, I don't know if I'm saying this right, they've just looked at the whole situation from a different angle. It's been fun because nobody's been alike. And now we have Mark, who's here, and his energy level is unbounded. It's amazing.
We were resistant in the beginning. We were resistant. Even though we kept coming, we were still kind of resistant to the whole idea of what this meant, what these principles were, and implementing them in our daily lives. Like, how do you do that? That's hard to do. And actually, when Nicholas was here as interim minister the first time after Richard left, he's a Cambridge professor and a highly intelligent man, and he left it all to do this. I said, that's the power of what we have going on here.
There's a real spiritual journey for me that opened up that was beyond my wildest dreams. And a lot of it is the people in this congregation, and that we would all go to classes together and expand. My world started opening up, and I'm an energy worker now. And that would not have happened without being in this facility, meeting these people and have the opportunity to take the classes and bond with people and move forward. And it's lovely. It's just, there is no place else I could go. The congregation is wonderful.
I would have thought that I would be totally evolved, at this age, but it's like there's always more to learn. It's a daily practice. And, our lives are not perfect. Our lives are not perfect, but they're a lot better than they would have been without opening to and trying to practice the Unity teachings to the best of our ability.
My vision and hope for Unity for the next 50 years is that it continues to serve and actually broadens a place of inclusion, of the word unity.
Well, I certainly hope that it's still a very viable place for people to come and worship. Unity, I think, offers so many things for so many people. It's all encompassing, it's loving.
I love history, and my hope would be that the next 50 years, that the history is always there. Who founded the church and his story.
I would like to see our youth component grow. I would like to see our physical property go from being a hidden gem, which is what I hear in the wedding world. Oh, when I get back there, I can't believe it. You're a hidden gem in Naples. I would no longer like to be hidden. I would like to be the biggest gem on the block.
The next 50 years of Unity, I see this place growing. I see this place overflowing with love, with positivity, which will attract people as it does now. This church will grow, and the name of Unity will become even stronger all across the world.
What I would like to see our kids achieve in the next 50 years is simply the idea that they can be the person they are called to be. They can step forward with courage and compassion for each other. They are creating their own lessons. They are teaching each other lessons. They are creating deeper spiritual experiences for themselves, that when they are called, they answer the call with a yes.
Wouldn't it be fun for Nevaeh to be here with her child and grandchild and great-grandchild? Wouldn't that be something? And for her to look at this video, knowing that she carried on this tradition of owning your truth and sharing liquid love.
I'm impressed with what Jack Kern did. The story that I've heard is that he started out speaking on the back of a pickup truck with a loudspeaker on the beach. And in the first 50 years, basically, he's brought us here. I think the next 50 years, we are the people that can take this to the next level and further than Jack even imagined. I think that Unity of Naples could be a source for people around the country and perhaps around the world.
I know Jack, for a lot of people that didn't know him, he still is here in spirit, and I know that part of moving on is just being able to honor him and to kind of put that part down, but there was something really special about that.
I would say what I've heard Reverend Mark say, that the future is unfolding in amazing new ways. And I can't wait to see what that's going to look like.
Unity of Naples is a special place. And I think we're at a point right now where we're ready for that next level of goodness, of abundance, of really connecting with people in this community who do not have a spiritual home. And we are going to be getting out there more and being that beacon for people. Just like I came here, I was seeking peace above all else.
I was at the meditation Bible study one evening, and actually Jack's first wife, Joan Kern, was leading it. And it was just one of those balmy evenings, and there were a lot of shade trees. And she had a portable record player, because this was before iPhones, iPads, all of this. And she played, and it was just a small, I think 78, Peace, the song Peace Begins With Me. And that song just grabbed me. And I was like, peace begins with me. And so I even said, where did you get that? Well, actually, was in the back of a book that had been published. I've forgotten something about a child. And it was in the back of a book that she had, that she used. And when we sing that song as our closing song, I often reflect back to that. And really, that is the heart. That is the heart of life. Peace begins with me.